everybody, happy new year to you. Let's hope 2021 is going to be so much better than last year. Thank you so much for all your help and support last year. It meant such a lot to us. So we're going to make sure that this year is going to be brighter, happier, more positive.
Oh, sorry, I hadn't clicked on go live, so that was a rehearsal.
Hi everybody, happy new year to you all. Thank you so much for joining me on the first of our Facebook Lives, 4th of January. Thank goodness 2020 is over with. I'm sure lots of people will agree with me. It wasn't the best of years. So let's just forget that and move on, and let's hope and pray that 21 is going to be a lot more positive, a lot more healthier, and a lot safer for all. Thank you so much for supporting us last year. We are so grateful, and we are here still because you have supported us. So thank you for that, because a lot of businesses have not been able to survive. So we are still here, we're still creating, and I'm so glad that you can join me for another of our Facebook Lives. So today we are going to be doing more of our luscious techniques. So this is our part 4, and I'm going to be using our luscious with a little bit of Flitterglu, but mainly with our resin, which is our diamond resin here. So it comes in 2 parts, very, very easy to use. One part of part A and one part of part B. So very, very simple. And I'm going to show you a few nice little techniques to play around with. So let's get started, and let's have a bit of fun together. Okay, so if we come down and say hello to a few people. Di, I'm sending you my love and a big hug, because I know you've had a difficult time recently. So both Alfie and I are sending our love to Di Waldock, who works for us. So big kisses to you. I'm going to say hello to Janelle. Thank you very much for joining us. Harsha Brooks, hello, happy new year. Kathy, nice to see you. Hope your mum's doing well. Lots and lots of love to Iris. Melanie, Julia, our own Julia Watts, great to see you, darling. And share this video if you can. If you like it, share it and comment. We will be picking out of the hat at the end of the show 2 people to win some. Are we giving away Luscious again, Alfie?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'll turn the overlay on there again.
Okay, so it's down at the bottom now. So if you can like, share and comment, that would be great, and you'll be in with a chance to win 3 luscious colours of your choice. So that's going to 2 winners. So you've got more chance of winning it than winning the lottery, that's for sure. Okay, so that over with, let's get playing. Okay, do you want to come on down, have a look? So these are our beautiful luscious colours, absolutely gorgeous they are. We've got 45 colours in total, and we've got lots more coming next year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some techniques using the diamond resin. Hi Jill, nice to see you. Andrea, Christine, nice to see you. Lilibel, hello darling. And Riley Davis, hello. Carolyn, we've got lots on today. Jill's on, yeah, I said hello to Jill. Let me get a mouthful of tea. Yum, that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some techniques like this. These are luscious. Oh, a bit dirty. Been in my box a while. Luscious underneath some resin. Okay, and these are on dominoes. Old dominoes. Okay, but I'm going to show you how I've used Flitterglu and the luscious first of all, and then I'll show you the diamond resin. Okay, so I've got a piece of MDF here. Just I've gone over it with some of our gesso, our black gesso, which is really nice black. I've also done a domino as well for you to show you different techniques here. So I'm using our Flitterglu. This has been out for many, many years, and it's our famous Flitterglu that we use to stamp with and use with mega flakes, mega gilding flakes. And we just cut a piece of fat foam about that size and a teaspoonful of Flitterglu, just right at the top. The top doesn't come off, it just twists. Okay, Janelle's asking.
Just asked about when the new colours of Luscious will be out.
We are launching some, I think, in January, end of January.
Okay.
And then we'll be launching throughout the year. So you'll be having lots of new colours throughout the year, which is going to be really good fun. Okay, so we've got our Flitterglu in there now. I put it face down on one of my paint mats. These are really great because they're non-stick. And then I'm going to just put it over my stamp. Not quite sure which area I'm going to use, but probably around about there. And then I'm going to stamp that onto my MDF, and then straight on and straight off, and you might just be able to see, there we go, there, the image there. And then I'm going to go and clean that because it is an acrylic base, so you do need to clean your stamp really well. I normally chuck it into a bucket of water.
Lorna's asked if the resin's back in stock.
Lon's asked if the resin is back in stock. Is it? It's back in stock. There you go. So yes, indeed. And yeah, we've got it on the website. Okay, so I'm going to use another little stamp here, and this is from my Fantasy Florals. Where's it gone? I had it a second ago. And I'm going to use this with our Flitterglu again. I'm going to use that later. A little bit of Flitterglu on there. And I think I'm going to just pop it over there on the domino. There we go. And you can just about see that there as well. Okay, clean your stamp off.
Just remind people about the Flitterglu now.
Now that Flitterglu, don't worry, it's not going to dry. Well, if it dries, it still remains tacky, which is the great thing about it. Okay, so I've used Circle Dot background and one of my Fantasy Florals from Janine's set of, you know, the mushrooms and everything. And then I'm going to get some of my Luscious out. Okay, so get yourself a dry brush. I think I'm going to go for quite a small one because I want to pick out different colours, I think. So with this one, where should we go? Let's start off with a little bit of silver. Let's go for silver. And then I'm just going to put my dry brush into the pigment powders and just dab this on. So this is just like using any mica powders that you might have had. Okay, but the difference with ours is that we've got pigment in them as well, and we've got a binder. So you're going to get a lot more for your money, a lot better quality for your money, and you're going to get more colour, as it were. Okay, I'm going to take my mermaid's tail. So this is a duo colour, and I like this because it looks green, but it also flashes gold as well. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that on those leaves because I think those look beautiful. So that is Mermaid's Tail. I'm going to come in with a bit of coral, I think. Coral would be quite nice. Again, just a dry brush into the powder, and I'm just tapping it on onto the Flitterglu, and that will just grab hold of it quite nicely. And you can see that the coral has got a duotone to it as well. So this will come up with flashes of gold as well as the coral. There we go. So hi Jill Digwood, hi Sal Todd. Thanks very much. She likes the stamps and the products, and you always get perfect results. Oh, that's so kind. Thank you. We're doing a good job then. Nikki from Plymouth, hello darling. Tracy Elson, hi. We've got Jill. Oh Jill, lovely to see you, Jill. One of our regulars to our dirty weekends. I'm going to try not to spend on any craft stuff till I've used the stamps I've bought and not used. Mind if the Newcastle Dirty Weekend goes ahead, I'll be spending, fair warning, Alfie.
I'm ready.
Bless it. Hopefully you heard that. He says he's ready. He's ready for you. I would say normally, under normal circumstances, hugs at the ready, but obviously we can't at the moment. Right, so what have I got now? I'm just picking these at random. Okay, so this is crushed velvet, okay, which is a really lovely purple. And I think I used a vintage rose a minute ago.
You better just recap what you're doing because there's quite a few people just joined.
Yeah, so what I've done is I've actually stamped this with Flitterglu. So I've put my Flitterglu onto the piece of fat foam there. I've then stamped using circle dot background and also a leaf one onto just a piece of MDF and a domino. Let's get this finished off here. Let's get a little bit of blue. So I'm putting our Luscious on, and that grabs hold of the Flitterglu, or I should say the Flitterglu grabs hold of the Luscious, because the Flitterglu remains tacky. It doesn't actually dry. So even if you're just faffing around with this for ages, or the dog goes, or you've got to take the dog as a walk or whatever, it's still going to be tacky when you come back. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on putting different colours on. You could, of course, just do one colour, but you know, why not do 50 colours when you can do 3? So here we go, just dotting that on with a small brush. And then once that's actually all filled up, just take a nice big fluffy brush and then just dust that away, all the excess. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? It's just beautiful. Wow, look at those colours. And different, oh, they sparkle so much. That's the mica in them. And of course the pigment gives you the colour. And then of course I've got this lovely little fern-like leaves. Oh, those are gorgeous. Look, they sparkle so much. Now the great thing about Luscious is if you put gloss over the top, that's going to really bring out the colours and the sparkle as well. So that's why I'm using resin with them. Let me just put that to one side, then I've got a little bit more room to work. Okay, so here's a couple that I've done earlier. Some dominoes there. Also, I've actually done some here whereby I've actually coloured it in, but let me just show you exactly how we're going to do this with the resin. Okay, so we have our diamond resin part A and part B. It's really simple. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So in with your kits you will get measuring cups, and on the side it will have either ratios, teaspoons or mil, whichever way you want to measure it out. Okay, and you'll also need a stick. And I usually recommend people to wear gloves because resin isn't very friendly to use. Okay, so wear your gloves. I also get a piece of a paint mat as well, and I stick it to a piece of board, and that way I can actually lift up my product, my finished pieces, and put them somewhere safe after I've actually done my pour. So I'm going to put these on here, and I'm going to get some gloves on. I'll be good and wear some gloves. Okay, so in the starter kit you get everything you need to get going. Okay, right, so always start with part A because this is the heaviest part. You'll see what I mean. And even if you're doing a small amount, you need to do a minimum of 5 mil. So sorry, I've got to lift this up too so that I can actually see. And I always say 5 mil of each part, because if you do any smaller than that, you know, if you get it ever so slightly wrong, your measurements, then the catalyst is not going to work fully. So I think the smallest amount you should do is 5 mil of each one, making a total of 10 mil. And that's going to do a lot of projects for you. So always have extra projects waiting, ready to fill up. And I've got some molds at the ready as well, and some other things also. So that's 10 mil, excellent. And then, so you do one part A, one part B, and stir for 2 minutes. Now, this resin is brilliant because you don't have to worry about bubbles at all. I found that even our absolute basic beginners never get bubbles in their work because it just is fantastic. So just give that a really good stir for 2 minutes. And whilst I'm doing that, in fact, I'm going to hand it to Alfie to do that while I just show you a couple of things. Can you whiz that round, darling? Thank you. For 2 minutes. And whilst Alfie's doing that, I'm going to show you this. So what I've done here is I've used the Luscious. Okay. And this time I've used a wet brush. Don't dip it in your TK. Okay, so Noella Christina Reese is saying, not used resin before, what do you use it for and why? Okay, so resin is brilliant because it gives you a professional hard finish on to surfaces. So a lot of people use ours for jewelry making because it gives you a good solid finish and it's crystal clear, and also I don't know whether you can see this, but it domes naturally. Also you can do lots of layers on it and then it self heals, so even if you get a fingerprint in it, it is actually going to heal itself. And so people use it mainly for artwork as well. So you can put it over your artwork on your canvas and it will give you this lovely hard finish, which is very durable, won't crack or yellow, and it would just make your artwork last a lot longer and give it this beautiful high gloss. People also use it to cover tables with. I've seen it poured onto lovely wooden tables and it gives a lovely hard finish. It encapsulates crystals and lots of other different inclusions. Oh, I don't want pink, let's do a contrasty colour so you can really see the difference here. Let's go for a purple.
Sue Elaine's just asked what make is the one we're using, because she missed that bit.
Okay, the make of the one we're using is our own. It is our indigo blue one that we've done for many years, and we have it made by an exceptional company. Oh, thank you very much, Alfie. So Alfie's just stirred that for 2 minutes, so I'm just going to leave that for a second just to let the bubbles release a little bit. So yeah, a company that's got a fantastic reputation makes it for us so that we can actually use it for our artwork. So what I've done here is I've just painted, I'm just going to, normally I put 3 colours on, but I'm just going to paint the whole metal bezel here. So all I've done here is just painted it with our Luscious mixed with just a wet brush in actual fact, so not really put much water in it. You have to then leave it to dry because you don't want it wet going into your resin. So I'm just going to leave it like this, okay? So Lorna, she's saying yes, it is on the website. Okay, so
Sarah's asked, when you put a wet brush in the Luscious, can you put the lid back on straight away?
When you put a wet brush into the Luscious, can you put the lid on straight away? Yes, but you don't have to because it is a powder, and if you even if you get a drop of water in there, it doesn't matter. It's not going to harm it in any way. You'll just get a lump of it. When you put the wet brush in the Luscious, can you put the lid back on straight away? Yeah, that's what. Does the resin work on sterling silver? Absolutely. I have a friend who uses it in all her jewellery, and she uses it to make, I've got one actually, silver rings out of and bracelets out of spoons, and then she fills the spoon head with resin and then floats different things in it, whether it be the Luscious or tiny pearls or whatever in it. So
can you use it in mould?
Yes, absolutely. I've got some moulds here which I'm going to show you. So normal moulds, silicone moulds, whatever you have actually will work really nice. Hi Ellen, lovely to see you, and Arme Anne, lovely to see you, darling. Right, okay, let me just show you this. So when you're doing a bezel, it's really quite simple because you just pour it in. I actually found it better and safer to scoop it in from the actual piece of stirrer that you have, and I just help it to the side by pushing it. See this here, I just want to clean this up. Where's my wipe? There it is. Just want to clean that up. If you need to do any cleanup, our Easy Peasy is superb for this. So I'm just going to push this to the edge, and then it will self-level as well, which is really cool about this resin. Not only does it dome itself, but it does actually level out also. Sorry, my hand's in the way. So I'm just going to push that to the edges here.
And how long till it sets?
Okay, so this is a chemical setting. It's not a heat set, so it's not like you can put a heat gun on it and speed it up. It is done chemically. So I'm just going to put this to one side because that's not dry, so I won't be using that today. So it takes about an hour until you can put another layer on it. But it actually takes 3 full days until it completely cured. So that's what we call it, cured rather than dried. And rather than checking it by sticking your finger in it, just keep your empty pot with the stick in and test that, rather than, you know, going up to it and thinking, oh, can I have a... It's so tempting to put your finger in it. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually getting hold of some of the resin and I'm pushing it to the edge. And this will create, it's the surface tension that will stop it flowing over the outside. Obviously, if you put loads and loads on, it is going to flow to the outside. But if you had a piece of artwork that you wanted to cover, or in my case, I've done some coasters, that this is how I've actually done it. I push it to the edge and then it will just level out beautifully on its own. So again, get some on your wooden stirrer. And just bear in mind that everything that you use is a one use only. So the gloves you won't be able to use again, or the stirrer or the cup, you can't like clean it out and reuse it because it will have a residue of chemistry in it. And if you were to reuse it, that chemistry would actually start it curing quicker than you actually want it to. So I've just put a little bit on there, and you can see that it's not completely even, but it will even out. As you can see here, it started to even out. But I tend to do 1 or 2 coats rather than 1 thick coat because it's so easy to put too much on and then it will flow over the edges there. So that's that piece. Just exactly the same with this. And again, I'm just going to push it to the edges. I'm almost just dabbing it to the edge here. And just to remind you, I did actually paint this with our black gesso first and then stamped it with the Flitterglu and dusted it with the Luscious powders straight from the pot. Okay, so that's those, which are lovely. Now I'm going to show you how to do like a nice sort of swirly effect with the...
Where do you get the cups? Do they come with the resin when you buy it?
Yes, the cups come with the resin when you buy a kit. You can buy these separately as well. They're just measuring cups, little disposable measuring cups. Okay, so the next I'm going to do is I'm going to just pour some resin into a bezel.
Suzanne's asked, how does the resin differ from Glossy Accents?
Okay, Glossy Accents is a completely different product. Glossy Accents will yellow over time, and if you dropped it, it will crack and break. Whereas this isn't. This is it is a resin, so it is an epoxy resin basically, and this will not. This is a type that won't discolor. It won't break. It is a professional grade so that you can use it for jewelry. Sorry, I'm just trying to grab a few things while I'm talking as well. So let me just bring in... Right, so here I've got a bezel and I've done nothing to it. This is just the silver of the back of the bezel, which I like because it does have a bit of a glitter to it once you get the resin on. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just wipe my hand. I'm going to get some of my Luscious directly from the pot, and I'm just taking a clean bit of wooden stirrer, and I'm just going to tap a little bit in. And then, now this colour is Cheeky Peach, and I think we'll go with Mermaid's Tail, which is a lovely green, but it's got a duotone in it, so it does have a gold in it as well, so when the light hits it, it will flash. Okay, so that's Mermaid's Tail. Then with your stick, you can actually just mix this around. Now you can mix it in the pot, of course, and pour it in, which is another way of doing it. But I like this because it makes it more of a opal effect. So you've got clear areas and you've got areas where there's colour and pigment. So it just, you can just swirl it round. I don't know whether you can see that actually. Not really, Alfie says, right, in that case I'll see whether I can pick that up and show you a bit closer. It might be out of focus because the camera's focused on the table underneath, but can you see the swirls in it? Don't worry about that powder on the outside, that will actually just brush off, but you can see all the lovely swirls on it.
Linda's asked, do you leave it in moulds for 3 days?
No, you can take them. She's just asked, can you leave it in the mould for 3 days? Yes, you can leave it in the mould for 3 days, or you can, depending on how big it is and how intricate it is, you can actually demold it after a day, because in actual fact you might want to shape it and it's still a little bit pliable after a day, but you need to leave it 3 to 4 days before you actually do post it to anybody or sell it or whatever you're doing with it.
And how many layers should they apply?
The number of layers that you should apply is completely up to you, because this bezel doesn't need any more. You might want to put one more layer on. This one probably doesn't need any more on, but you know, I've done my coasters which have got like four layers on, so it just depends on the project you're working on. So this one here, I've actually put some lovely luscious in the bottom. So now what I can do is just take another cup, decant a little bit of this, and then add some luscious to this. So I think what we'll do is we'll go for a peacock colour. That will go with all of the...
And how much time have you got for working with the resin in the cup?
How much time have you got for working with resin in the cup? That depends on how cold it is. Even though it is, you can see it's really quite fluid. I would say you've got about 45 minutes to an hour. It thickens up as it starts to cure. Well, it starts to cure as soon as you've mixed it. But you have got time. That's why I make sure that you've got all your bezels and everything ready to go before you mix it. So you can see I've actually mixed the colour in now to this tiny bit of resin, and I'm just going to add a swirl to this one here.
Janelle's asked, do we need to use a lighter or flame to pop bubbles with this resin?
No, you don't. I don't use a lighter or a flame to pop bubbles at all, because I haven't found that you really have any problems with bubbles at all. So all I'm doing is I'm just swirling this around, because remember I've already put one coat on here. So now that I'm putting this colour in, there we go, that will actually sit on top very nicely. So,
and can you use it over acrylic pours?
Can you use it over the top of acrylic pours? Absolutely. Alfie, if you just go on the oak bookcase, top next to the top shelf on the right hand side, there's a shiny piece, blue. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, bring that over. So you can see that I've done the swirls in here. So can you use it over an acrylic pour? This is not exactly an acrylic pour, but it's a piece of artwork with lots of inclusions and everything. And there you can just about see how shiny that is. It is under glass as well. Probably be better out of the glass actually, but it's really, really highly reflective and it looks absolutely gorgeous. So that's got all sorts on there. So yes, as long as the surface is dry, you can actually apply this to anything because it is a resin base. So we've got nice swirls on here. We've got put it on dry. We've got pieces that have put on clear. So I'm just going to show you also you can add it to finished pieces as well, like this. I'm going to show you how I did this. This is with Luscious and texture paste. So I'm just going to put this to one side to dry and get another piece. Is the resin heat resistant? The resin is heat resistant, yes. There is a limit. I can't remember how high it is, but if it is like blasted with the heat gun, I think it would go soft. Okay, so I'm gonna use up this because I don't like wasting stuff. So I think I'm going to put a little bit of this blue in some of these holes and just spread it on because I don't actually want to lose any of this at all or waste it. So when you only need a tiny bit, it's best to do more than you need and then use a separate cup to mix in the colours. Okay, so when you've done that, that needs to stand at one side and you just keep that with your project and then you can actually test whether it is actually completely cured with this rather than sticking your finger in it. Now you can actually use brushes as well. Okay, I buy really, really cheap kiddies brushes because it's a one-use thing. So you can't actually use these more than one time, obviously, because they're going to go hard with the resin. So just buy the cheapest things you can find. Usually you can get them from places like the Works or Wilkinson's or, you know, the Pound Shop, those sorts of places. A pack of 10 for £1, something like that, because as I say, chuck it away afterwards because it's only going to go hard, or put it in your artwork, which is what I tend to do as well. I've just got a stack of them, so I use them in my mixed media artwork. So I'm just coating all of this with the resin. What about using the resin on coasters? Doesn't it get sticky because of the hot mug? I haven't found it to be a problem on coasters. The ones I've made. Have you used them with a hot mug? Yeah, I've used them with a hot mug. Okay, so there you go. So that's going to give you that lovely high gloss, and it hardens it as well, so it gives it protection, which is lovely. And when it dries, it'll be completely clear, and it'll really make those colours sing as well. So that's going to be really lovely. Okay, so I'm going to just put my brush to one side, like so. Let me show you how I did that actually. So all I did was I got a piece of, it's not MDF, it's just cardboard actually, and then I used, where is it, super thick Slap It On as my glue. So let me just clean this off. So I just applied a good dollop of Slap It On thick onto here, and then just put these down. Where should we go with this? About there. Big dollop of that. over there. Bit difficult with your gloves on, but there we go. That on top. And this takes a while to dry. This takes about 24 hours to completely harden off. But the great thing is it's not going anywhere. You know, it's really good strong glue, as well as being great for stenciling and adding texture to your work. It actually is an incredibly good glue, and I use it for all my mixed media projects. So really, really easy to do. And then once that is actually dry, like so, I have then got some texture paste, which is our True Grit, Junk and Disorderly True Grit texture paste. And this is lovely because it is actually very, very gritty, but it's fine. It gives you a lovely texture. And it's actually made with pumice stone. So, you know, you don't have something, it's a really fine texture, and it really holds its shape very, very well indeed. Sorry, it's out of focus, that, beg your pardon. Okay. So I've put that on, allowed it to dry, and then I've just come in with my Luscious, which I've used my palette because this is just mixed with water. And if you see on parts 1 and 2 and 3 of our Facebook Lives, you'll see me using these. So all I've done is I've just coloured these in, just with different colours all over, until you build up the texture and the effect that you want, until you get this. Obviously mine's very, very blue, which I love. And then that's where you saw me put the resin on top. So that's how I did that, really, really quickly. So I'm just going to put that to one side and bring in my moulds. Okay. So you can also, this is a necklace that was actually made for me by one of the design team members. I think it was probably, might have been Nikki Killinger actually, forgive me if it wasn't, but Nikki's actually, let me just pull that up a little bit. She's actually taken a normal charm and coloured in with the Luscious into the wings here. And then, because it's like, can you see it's slightly bent? I use blue tack just to secure it onto the base, and then filled it with the clear resin to give that lovely, beautiful, glossy finish, which is really lovely. Gorgeous, subtle colours there from the Luscious range. This is what it looks like when it's completely cured. What I started off with, those dominoes, and the one that I did a swirl on, this is how it comes out. It's almost like opals. It's beautiful. This is just a piece of well, it's got a hole in, so it's like a bead. That's just gorgeous. And then this is actually done by Emma Blake, and she actually mixed in the Luscious into the resin and then poured it on. So you get a completely different look of it swirling around. Okay, and you can see here that I've done the same there. I've actually painted it on and then put another layer of resin over the top, which I think is gorgeous. And of course you can do inclusions, you can actually drop things onto it. Okay, so
how many layers would they have to get the dome?
In order to get a dome look, you can see here, oh, can you see? There you go. So you probably need 2 layers to get that doming effect. In fact, I'll show you that if you wish. Okay, let me just grab, is this dry now? No, it needs another layer on that, doesn't it? I'll just get a small piece here. That's a bit mucky, so I'll use this one. Okay, so to dome, so this is already cured and it has got 2 layers on because I can see that it's already domed. But in order to put another layer on, you just again take your little stick, scoop it on, and what you would do is you just push it to the edge, because it's a nice viscous consistency. So if you push it to the edge of where you want it to be, the surface tension will just pull it back and the self-leveling will work. Now you don't want to put too much on, otherwise it will actually pour over the edge. If that happens, just leave it for an hour or 2, and before it's fully set you can actually just cut it with a pair of scissors and clean, and you can also clean it up with some indigo blue. Easy peasy, is very good for cleaning up. So if I was to drop some down the side, I can actually just wipe that away with a bit of tissue that's got some easy peasy soaked into it. So can you see now I've got it all around the edge there. I don't want to tip it up because okay, I'll tip it up quickly and then go back. There you go. You can see the dome. And there's a little dimple there. I'm not going to worry about that because when I put it down, it's actually going to level out itself. Isn't that gorgeous? So that's when you dome it. And the great thing is about having multiple layers in, you can put different things in onto each layer. I've done watches and
Lisa's mentioned flowers.
And flowers are fantastic. I've also done, my favourite is little bulbs. I love Christmas bulbs, which I do. And also the lovely thing about them taking a few days to cure is that you can actually shape them when they're not quite fully cured. So what I've got here is I've got a stamped image which I've heat embossed, and then I've coloured in with the Luscious, cut round it, and it's just on a piece of card. And all I'm going to do is, where's that brush? There it is. I'm just going to brush that on, the resin, straight onto the card. And this will give me a beautiful high gloss finish. And then after about, I don't know, 6-8 hours, it's dry to touch, but it's still pliable. Just going to put that down and finish all of that. And then whilst it's still pliable, you can actually bend it into position and then again leave it to cure fully, and then it won't bend anymore, it's actually solid. So that could make a beautiful wreath that is going to be protected, or it could be a piece of jewellery. If it was a piece of jewellery, I'd do the back as well rather than just the front. So that will protect both sides of the piece of card. And again, I've just done that with a paintbrush. And so to do flowers, it's amazing. So you can do headpieces for weddings, or just headbands, or corsages, stuff like that. And it gives it that weatherproof protection, and also the fact that it's gorgeous high gloss. Look at that, it's just beautiful. And you can see how I did lots and lots of leaves for a project, and they look lovely. And you can actually put in here, I've put a few inclusions in, bit of glitter or whatever you want as well. Right, and then now you can see I've still got loads left here, absolutely loads. So make sure you do have lots and lots of projects. When I was doing a class, I could fill 25 bezels with 10 ml of the resin, made up to 5 of each, A and B, mixed up equals 10 ml, and I could fill 25 of these bezels when I was doing a class. So, you know, you need plenty of projects at the ready for for when you're ready to go. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you is some molds. So you can use normal everyday silicone molds. These are just shaped for resin for jewellery. So these you would just get a circle with a hole in the middle, which is quite nice. And so again, what you can do is you can actually just paint a little bit of resin in here before I do pour it. And then you can come in with, let me just move this out of the way. It's like, which one did I paint? Just got to make sure I remember. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to move that over. Okay, so just going to move that, and that's the one that I've already done. Okay, so what you can also do is you can actually pour this into here to make a lovely sort of coloured resin as well. So seeing as I've got blue in here already, I'm going to just use that tiny bit of blue that's left. I'm not going to put any more in, and I'm just going to pour it into this mould.
Can it be used on rigid plastic moulds like the ones for air dried paper clay?
On rigid plastic moulds, well, these are pretty plastic. These are pretty rigid. So where's my stuff? So once they're cured, they do actually come out very easily. So if I just tap that bottom, she says, there we go, and that's pretty rigid. To make these, I've put some inclusions in these. These are actually ashes for remembrance piece, and this is how I'm doing this one here. So I've just mixed up a little bit of that clear resin with the blue that was left over, and I'm just putting it in this mould, and you get the colour but you also get that sparkle with the luscious powders. That's the beauty of using it, and because it is a powder rather than a liquid, you're not altering the makeup of the resin at all. So that's the beauty of it. Just gonna give that a bit of a swirl around here. Now if you want just that to show, you can see through that. Can you see through that? I don't think you can on this camera. No, it's not showing up terribly well. So you can see through it, or you can colour the rest and pour that in as well. So like I've done here with these hearts. So I've actually coloured it with a pink luscious solidly, so it would be a solid colour. Okay. So with this one, I'm actually just going to, in fact, I'll pour a bit in here and I'll do a secondary colour. So it's just a little scoop, and I think we'll go with gold. So just a tiny weeny bit will do, because it's very rich. And I know I'm still using the same cup, but and it'll mix in with the blue, but that's okay. So Belinda.
Yeah, it's all right, you've answered all of them.
All right, I've answered them all. Thanks,
I'm just
Alfie.
going out for some tea.
Annie's. Bye, Anne. So you can see we're going to have a layer of gold coming through this. So I don't want to mix that in too much, but that'll be like a greeny gold, which is lovely. Okay. I know it's out of focus because I'm close up, but you get to see it there. And if I just get a, just talk amongst yourselves, Alfie, say hello to someone.
the spot.
Putting you on the spot, am I?
Right, all the questions have been answered.
All the questions have been answered. Okay, right, just to prove that you can use silicone molds as well, as long as you're not using them for food, you can use them for silicone as well. So with this one, what you can do is take a dry brush. Let me get a dry brush. There we go. And just move that up a little bit. There we go. So use a dry brush this time, and let's choose always go for blues. Always go for blues. Let's go for
Melanie's asked if you can post it when it's cured.
Can I post it when it's cured? Of course, absolutely. So I'm going to use some Unicorn Dreams in here. And then I'm going to come in with, I think, some blue. No surprise there then, eh? Me using blue. So this is dusting in just dry. Let's do some purple just to finish right at the edges of the petals. There we go. And then you can just pour into this. Now you'll be able to see that this is pouring really quite slowly now. So I've had this mixed about 3/4 of an hour, maybe a bit more. And then in order to make sure it goes in every nook and cranny, you just use your stick just to push that to the edge of your mould, and then it will make its own way to levelling out. And then when you release it, all of that lovely luscious will be stuck to the resin, and you'll get a beautiful mix of colour. You can actually put a swirl of it in there as well. I've got a tiny weeny bit left, so I'm not going to waste it. Now, even if I don't fill the whole of this mould, I can leave it in there, and the next time I mix some resin, I can fill it up. So just get every last little drop in there. And as I say, I'll fill that up next time I mix some resin.
Lorna says thank you, she's learned a lot.
Good. I'm glad I was able to show you a few little techniques with the Luscious. So the resin, I will be doing more shows just on the resin because there's so much more you can do with it. But at least you saw how you can use the Luscious in lots of more different and unusual and creative ways. So I hope you enjoyed that. Want to come back up to me?
Okay. Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, and thank you very much for really taking part and asking lots of questions, because that's the beauty of Facebook Live, is that we can actually chat about things and talk about techniques and ask questions. So that's brilliant. So thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you next week, Facebook Live, 4 o'clock on a Monday. Thanks very much. Bye now.